Good morning. It is 5 in the morning. The sun is not even up yet, and I'm in the car and I'm headed out to Memphis, Tennessee. There's a race today, the Herb Persons cross-country race. It's put on by Stinky Creek Cycling. I'm headed down to Mayfield right now. I'm gonna pick up Shawn, and he's gonna make the trip with me. He's actually gonna be my soigneur for today, so he's gonna be handing me some bottles. So yeah, super early start this morning. Didn't feel like making the trip yesterday. Just figured we'd wake up at the crack of dawn here. All right, we've made it to Memphis, to the Herb Persons Lake, and I'm gonna get ready to get warmed up and get this race started.
Yeah, let's go. I'ma make a couple stacks, do exactly what I want to. Mix a couple tracks, get a lady that I'm drawn to. Turn up to the max, get me faded till I'm gone, dude. I do what I want, couldn't stop me if you wanted to. I just want
She has probably about 25-30 minutes before she comes through. She said, make sure whatever I do, I give her the right bottle. I think she said, what color was that? And there's two bottles, and I better look and make sure. I don't remember which bottle she's wanted first now. Something about a white lid or a red lid, something like that. We'll look in here real quick. Uh-oh. There's not a white or red lid in there. I'm kidding, she wants one with a black lid first. Come on, Mark, stick with it, bud. Christy came in on her first lap looking really good. She was drafted behind some people coming down the levee. Looked solid. Didn't look winded at all. Took a drink, didn't say nothing, just kept moving. Went through the finish line looking good. So it's about time for her to come through on her second lap now. I expect more of the same thing. All right, we got a good one coming in. Number 33. Looking good. She didn't say nothing, so she's feeling all right. So keep it up, Christy. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, Christy.
We got to the tape and we were like, where did we go? It was like blocking the trail. Yeah, and I was with this one guy and he was like, where do we go? And I'm like, I'm going left because the lake's always on our right. So I'm sweating like, I'm not, like my socks, look at my shoes, like that's all sweat.
This is hydrated.
Oh man. Like, my socks have never been this wet. I feel like you right now. Yeah, the banner cost me a little bit of time, and then a couple of slides, and then that guy was laying in the middle of the trail, and so I completely stopped.
He was laying in the trail?
He was laying in the trail.
Was he hurt?
I literally thought he was dead. Like, it was the scariest thing that I've ever come up to on a ride. I came up to him, he was laying face down in the dirt, and his bike was on the side of the trail. So I stopped and I yelled at him first. I was like, are you all right? He didn't move at first. I was like, I'm like, this guy's dead. But then he rolled over and was like, someone's coming. I was like, okay, so I just kept going because it was right here towards the end, so.
Tired and need some combos.
All right, there she is, Virginia Solomon, and stepping up on the top box. Can we get Christy Brinkler? She turned her 3 laps in 2 hours and 35. All right, there they are, folks. Pro Cat 1 women. There she is, Christy donning her state champion jersey.
That was a pretty good race. I'm gonna give you my race recap. I know Shawn did a great job at filming and also being my swanee for the day. It was nice not having to really slow down at all to grab those bottles, so that was awesome. Thanks, Shawn, for that. He was practicing for Leadville. He's gonna be my main SAG crew for the event. I had one other girl in my category for the race. This was the Tennessee State Championship. Usually it draws out a much more competitive group, but I think a lot of people just have had other things going on this summer, and my category really hasn't been as popular popular as it was last year. I think a few people have kind of taken the year off from racing the series. I really liked this race last year, and with it being the Tennessee State Championship, and I was kind of bored this weekend, it just all worked out good for me to go and do the race. Luckily, when I got there, they were actually running behind on registrations. They actually started the races 30 minutes late, which was good for me. Kind of gave me a little bit of extra time not to be rushed with getting ready, and I definitely think that I needed it. I started my warm-up. I went out to the end of the trail and actually rode out there because I was told that they did a time trial the day before, and during the time trial it rained, but it only rained on half the trail apparently. So I wanted to check out the wet half, and it actually wasn't really that wet, it seemed like. The humidity was just crazy. I went to the pre-race meeting, and then we lined up and we took off on the first lap. I went in first onto the trail. There's not a lot of climbing on this trail, so I just kept the legs spinning. To me, this is kind of a course where there's not really a lot of coasting. You're constantly spinning the legs. We went around a corner, and in the trail, it was taped off. There was a left turn and right turn, and like there was just a piece of tape all the way across. So we didn't really know where to go. I'm going left because I know that the lake, this whole course is around a lake. I told him I know that the lake stays at our right, so this has got to be the correct way. I really started to notice that, man, my feet are wet. My feet were soaked. And I realized I was sweating so much that my socks were just completely waterlogged. And I started to move my toes around, and water started to squish up out of the top of my shoes. I was just realizing I was just sweating way more than I expected. And I started to feel it a little bit. I had a little bit of crampiness like in my toes and in my calves. So there was a section of the trail that definitely was a little bit more wet than the rest of it. It was mostly that there's a lot of roots in this section, and it's kind of like a jumble of roots. There were a couple times when I hit them, I just slid. On my second lap, I actually slid towards a tree, but I was able to grab the tree and unclip without actually causing any damage at all. So I tried to be more careful the second and the third lap that I went through that section. As I was finishing up, just a couple minutes from being done with the race, I came up on a rider who was laying face down on the trail, and his bike was on the side of the trail. I yelled out, "Are you all right?" And he didn't say anything, and he didn't move at first. And I oh my gosh, I just came up on this person who is badly injured. Well, when I got closer to him, I stopped, and he rolled over and he told me somebody was already coming. So there weren't any mechanicals, not really any major crashes. It was overall a really good event. I sweated gallons of sweat. I did use Martens this weekend. On Saturday, I used the 320 mix, and then on Sunday, in one of my bottles, I used the 160. The 320 kind of has a different consistency to it, a little bit thicker consistency. The main thing that I've noticed about it, and I've heard another person say this, is that it doesn't really give you a rocket boost. That's not what it's doing. To me, I feel like it makes the lows not as low. Gives you a little bit of extra leeway of, not bonking. So I'm probably gonna use it in my bottles at Leadville. So really, that's it for the race. Thanks for everybody who supported me. It was really great seeing all of our friends down from Memphis. I think I'm finally starting to feel ready, which is good because this weekend is the last weekend I have at home. The next weekend, the weekend after this weekend, I will be in Colorado. Thanks for watching my race recap, and I'll see you on the next one.